Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi, can you hear me? This is Tonya.
Yeah, I can hear you, Tonya. My name's Becky Leonard. I'm the communications coordinator for AAWDC, and I also handle marketing for Workplace Excellence.
Oh, great, great. Hi. How's my voice?
It's good. Sounds good.
Okay.
So we also have on the line Brian Sanders Park. He also is part of the Workplace Excellence team. And I'm just going over with him some of the controls of GoToWebinar because I like to have two people be able to run it in case some technical difficulties happen on this panel. So as soon as you're the first panelist to join, as soon as the other panelists join, I'll do a brief rundown. Elisabeth and I will do kind of a brief rundown about how the webinar will go for you guys.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
All right. So you can just tune out for the next couple minutes while I finish explaining to Brian.
Sure, I'll mute.
All right. So Brian, like I said, it'll show. For some reason it says it's being.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. And welcome. We're so glad that you're going to spend 45 minutes with us. I am Elisabeth Sanders Park, and I am part of the Workplace Excellence team. As you can see on the slide, you see the icon for Anne Arundel Workforce Development Corporation and WorkNet Solutions. And these two organizations make up the public-private partnership that spearheaded the development of this series. AAWDC is a large provider of workforce services in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, where Annapolis is. They run the board, and they run a lot of amazing services from older workers to youth, to TANF recipients, to people doing cybersecurity training, veterans, you name it, they're doing it. It's very exciting. And then I own the company WorkNet Solutions, and we are known for bringing career development-based employment solutions to the rest of America. If you've ever heard of the book No One is Unemployable, I co-authored that book, and therefore you're familiar with our work. We are all about helping people build and succeed in careers, especially those who face some extra barriers to employment. So it's my pleasure to introduce these two knowledgeable and very passionate women. We're going to start with Norma Dorsett, who's in Southern Maryland. And Norma, I'll have you introduce yourself. Tell us about the Tri-County Council of Southern Maryland. What is your mission? What services do you provide? And who do you serve?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Norma Dorsett, as Elisabeth said, and I work with Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland, and we are a community-based agency. We provide employment services to job seekers in 3 counties, which are Calvert, Charles, and St. Mary's. We are regions sitting by ourselves. Our goal is to provide employment and training services to job seekers and to businesses. Southern Maryland Job Source that's our brand in the market, and we strive to provide customer-driven workforce services for all of our job-seeking customers. We do provide a variety of employment and support resources to assist individuals to achieve their employment goals and encourage really lifelong learning, information, and resources for the economic advancement of any job seeker in need of services here in Southern Maryland.
Thank you so much. So you all have been using the Workplace Excellence series for quite a while now in your adult services, but also in your youth services. So would you tell us a little bit about maybe why you chose the Workplace Excellence series and the need that you saw? This curriculum is designed to help job seekers and also help employees to develop and deliver the soft skills. So tell us about the challenges that you saw on your front lines and why you needed a solution, and a little bit about why you chose this solution.
Okay. Well, initially when I first received my certification in Workplace Excellence, I was absolutely blown away at the curriculum. And it made me become introspective, and think, wow, am I giving my employer the best that I can give? Am I serving the customers that I serve at the very best that I can? So the curriculum in and of itself was life-changing for me, both professionally and personally. It really made me look. In regards to some of the problems that I saw in the workplace, as far as customers, we found that people kept returning. They get a job, but they didn't know how to keep it. That's speaking from an adult and dislocated worker perspective. But we also had youth and young adults that were completely capable of having a job, doing the job, but again, they kept coming back through the door. We're asking them what happened. Thankfully, we have this resource of workplace excellence that helped us to identify areas in our job seekers, in our youth and young adult job seekers, which are, by the way, ages 16 to 24, by setting up what we call a job cafe, which is, a job club. And what we've done is we've taken the workplace excellence series, and we've taken all 10 modules, and we've turned them into a series whereby we just completed one complete series of 10 weeks. And we meet with the young people, and we have found that it has been life-changing for them because it has made them reflect and see personally more of what they have to offer and also where they are in need of growing. So the greatest barrier that we saw in this area was they can get the job, but they didn't know how to keep it.
Mm-hmm. So the series is made up of 10 modules. They're flexible. You can use all of them or some of them. And then we also have a youth employment handbook, which is bound. You all use the modules, right? Even with your youth. I think that's the case. Yes. I would love to have you share, how have you integrated? When do you teach the soft skills? Is it a boot camp? You said over 10 weeks. Is it different for your summer programs versus year-round programs? How have you integrated this solution into your services?
Okay. We are using the modules continuously and ongoing after doing an informal and a formal assessment. We may use the modules one-on-one, again, using them as needed. Everybody needs something different. But we use them in our summer employment boot camp, but we also use them in our year-round program. And yes, we use all 10 modules in the boot camp and in the series that we do at our public library.
Is the program at the public library also for youth, or is that for adults?
That is for youth, youth
Okay.
and young adults. Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. My slides are doing weird things. There's Norma. She's lovely inside and out. So tell us some of the metrics. You have some numbers with how many youth have you used this series? And what are your plans for the summer?
Okay, well, we use, like I said, we use the Workplace Excellence Series every day. It has become a part of our enrollment process and our ongoing case management services that we deliver. I would say that we have used this year so far the series with about 60 youth and young adult job seekers, and potentially for the summer employment alone, we're looking at about 57 participants. And I just started a new component of our program, work-based learning, that is for youth and young adults ages 18 to 24. It's a brand new component, and we are going to use that, the Workplace Excellence Series, for specifically job retention. Again, I can't say enough about, young people, they can get a job, they don't know how to keep it, and this series here reinforces, the need to see employment, their jobs, from an employer's perspective. And one of the things, Elisabeth, if I might, that has really stood out for my staff is some of the comments have been that the young people really did not understand, the bottom line of the employer. They were just happy to get a job. Well, again, the Workplace Excellence Series brings that out. They did not understand how much it costs, although they may be making $10 an hour, how much it costs that employer to employ them, meaning, supplies, health insurance, just having the lights on, So we help them to see all of that, and staff have reported back that, they really, the young people that they were working with had no idea, how an employer felt. They thought all the perks were on the employer, but in reality, everybody has a bottom line. So this series has really helped us to teach these young people to see employment from, an employer's perspective.
Very good. So we have found that there's really 3 key benefits that organizations are seeing from using the series. One is an increase in client outcomes. They're landing faster, they're retaining their work longer, they're solving problems better on the job, and they're being seen as more promotable. So it's increasing client outcomes. The third one, and I'll come back to the second one. The third one is it's an opportunity to help organizations generate income by doing fee-for-service training for local incumbent workers. And then the other one is better satisfying employers. I would love to know, your staff is seeing the difference, your clients are experiencing the difference. Have you heard any feedback from employers where they see a distinction in the quality of your workers?
Yes, they have, employers have stated that our young people know how to communicate effectively, they're respectable, and quite frankly, they are, in comparison to some of the seasoned workers, they are just, floored by these young people, their dependability. How they're there on the job. We teach young people that, if you're supposed to be to work at 9 a.m., if you arrive at 9 a.m., you're already late. And just how they present themselves and how they're flexible, how they're a good fit for the job. Because, we teach young people through this series to look at what they have, what are they bringing to the table for the employer, but also to look and see if does this employer really have what you need? Is there growth for you? And if so, how? And Elisabeth, another thing that I'd like to bring up is we teach our young people that, once they get in, start looking around for growth, and what they have, pass it on to someone else. These skills that, they're learning, we're asking that they pass them on. But there's another perspective to this workplace excellence, and one thing that I am especially proud of, and really haven't had an opportunity to deliver services on yet, and that is the incumbent worker. Mm-hmm. I know that employers would prefer to retain who they have than have to let people go. But this Workplace Excellence Series will enable employers to bring folks like myself in, who's a certified master workplace excellence trainer, to come in and to teach young people, older people, folks that are already in the workplace, to get them up to par, get them up with their skills, and so that they will enhance the organization or the business, and to help them to grow. And these people will be able to stay within the organization versus leaving or just sitting stagnant and watching people come in and, get positions that they've been there 10 years already.
Yeah. So it's not our topic today. Maybe one of these days we'll do a webinar on it, but I'm sure there's people on the line who are interested in that. So just to underscore what Norma is saying, there is an opportunity to do incumbent worker training with local employers. And there are groups around the country who are doing that. Some of them are doing it simply as part of their workforce services, but there are groups that are also doing training for a fee and therefore generating income to support their services. And we know that in government services and in workforce, there is a rising expectation that we will find ways to create sustainability and not be so dependent on some of the funding that we are dependent on. So thanks for sharing that. I do want to take any questions that are coming up for the group. If you've got a question that you would like to address to Norma, make sure you get that in the chat box, and Becky, make us aware of those. And then Norma, while Becky's taking a look and people are getting those questions together, can you share a story of a particular individual or a particular employer, whether you name a name or not, but just if you could give us a specific example of some of the impact you've seen from teaching the soft skills in addition to the other things that y'all teach.
Okay. There is one young man that comes to mind automatically, and this young person had some serious barriers, and he still does. They haven't completely gone away. He's working through them. But the Workplace Excellence Series has helped him to understand how to communicate effectively in the workplace. Meaning, instead of huffing and puffing and walking away, first of all, taking a look at what happened, how it happened, who was involved, how to communicate, timing, is everything. So the Workplace Excellence has really help this young man in regards to, instead of clearing up and shutting down, how to appropriately communicate differences, or hurt feelings, or get the emotions out of there and think realistically and logically.
So I'm going to put a slide up that just reminds us what the topics are in the series, because when we created this series, we really began with employers, and rather than saying, what do we think our clients need to know, we asked employers, if you had a magic wand, what would you teach them? What do you want job seekers, and of course the people that you're already paying, to know? And these are the topics they came up with. And I will say, Norma, communication was almost always at the top of the list. And it wasn't just for entry-level workers, and it wasn't just for youth. It was for people at all levels, people who've been having a successful career for quite some time, but have recently got a new role or a new project. Communication was almost always at the top of the list. The other ones that really rose to the top, adaptability was another one that was a hot topic. Respectability, which is our treatment of thriving in intergenerational teams, was another really hot topic. Dependability is always important. And then reasonability, which is the managing your mindset, thinking critically, getting along with others, being your best self. Those are the ones that tended to be near the top, but communication, almost always the first one that they mentioned.
Yes.
Becky, have any questions come up for Norma?
Yes, we have one. And Norma, as we've heard, you work, obviously use this with youth, and I've heard you mention the communication ability module a lot, but the question comes up, what modules do you find are most valuable to youth? If you couldn't teach the whole series, if you could only teach a few because you had a short period of time.
That's a tough one. It would be communication ability, adaptability, and workability.
Would you say a few words about workability? Why is that one valuable?
Well, with the workability, it helps helping young people and older people such as myself to really understand changes in the workplace, and to understand the bottom line of the employer, because then it's a win-win situation, because the employer wants to invest in the young person or the older person, in the employee, but also the employee needs to be equipped, number one, and with the mindset through reasonability to, to be vested in their employer. Because, we have the profit. Some places are for profit. Me, we don't work in for profit, but, employers are in business for a reason. So that one in particular, it really, really stands out because it helps young people to have an understanding, a realistic understanding of the expectations and their role in the workplace, how they're needed to support, and how not just their salaries, but other folks' salaries depend on what they do and their communities depend, whether or not a business thrives and stays in the community. Depends on their workability. We have everybody walking the same way. It's a win-win situation.
Wow, I think it's really important what you said, the realization that the way I work impacts my coworkers, my business, and even the local economy in my community. If I do something to help the business go out of business, if I do something to help the business thrive, that I can have that kind of impact. And I think the workability one, I would just say amen. I think it's really valuable. I feel like it's the one, like you walk into the mind of the person and you just flick on the light. And the light comes on, it sort of makes 101 other things make a lot of sense or look really different. And so the whole series is written from the employer's perspective, but that workability, we didn't want to be subtle about working in the employer's perspective. So that's our, very overt learning to think like the employer. And the goal is to simultaneously create career and company success, and career success, and to see how they go together.
Right.
Other thoughts to add to that? And Becky, other questions for Norma specifically?
No, that was the only one.
Okay. Norma's going to hang on the line. We're going to go ahead and have Tonya share as well. I had the good pleasure of, actually I've known Tonya for a while now, and she's been with the Children's Aid Society, which is just this amazing organization in New York City that's doing awesome work with young people. And recently they took on the series and are just having a ton of fun with it, with their summer youth jobs offerings. And then I'm not sure if y'all are doing work with year-round programs as well with this series. So Tonya, would love to have you tell us a little bit about the Children's Aid Society, the work that you do, and the role that you play.
Well, good afternoon. Elisabeth, first of all, I'm so happy that you asked me to talk about workplace excellence because we have just seen some phenomenal shifts in our youth. The Children's Aid Society is 160 years old in New York. So we have 40 sites, and it's a multi-service agency serving all the way from prenatal care all the way to college. So we serve families in all of the 5 boroughs here in New York. Specifically, the program in which I work in is in the Bronx, and it's called the Next Generation Center. And it's a multi-service agency for youth between 17 and 24 who have been either they're aged out of foster care, maybe they've had experience in the criminal justice system, and maybe low literacy, because we offer GED, we offer job readiness, we also offer mental health services for that population.
Very good. So tell us about the process. So you saw in me, you've got these summer youth programs, and I would love for you to share how it went last year and sort of how you adjusted for this year. But as you approached your summer youth extravaganza, why did you feel like you needed soft skills, and what led you to this particular solution?
Well, Children's Aid Society has a relationship with Juma. It's an agency that actually partners with Yankee Stadium for their concession stands. And those are specifically, those concession stands are specifically for youth to offer job experience and job training. Last year, we had an opportunity to place around 60 youth in the, at Yankee Stadium. So we had youth that were very excited about actually having a job, but we had we had a very high level of turnover. And we also had behaviors and terminations that were unexpected in terms of the level. So this year we decided that we're going to try it again. We actually placed double the amount, over 100 youth. And this time we said, you know what, we need some level of soft skills, some workplace training. And workplace excellence was the perfect fit. So our youth actually work at Yankee Stadium from March all the way to October. And we have offered a few of the modules, but we're going to do it a little different. Where some people maybe offer the 10 modules at once, we've actually staggered the modules. So they're working, then they actually come to the site to get training. And we staged the modules based on what we think their current challenge is going to be. So at the beginning, we actually started off with workability, which was fantastic. That whole the whole question of profitability and how do you help a company make money, save money, or what do you do to cost a company money was invaluable in really changing their perspective about work, their role in it, and looking at it from the employer's perspective, and also triggering their own entrepreneurial ideas about maybe how they want to make money and what does that look like. We also did reasonability, and that was all about managing your mindset, which was also very powerful because the previous year we found that we had some things that happened that were very reactive, and youth didn't necessarily think about the consequences. They were just responding, and then that caused them to be terminated. So the reasonability and managing your mindset and really understanding you have a choice when a stimulus happens, you have a choice in making a decision was excellent. And we also did transitionability as well. So those three were really good in setting the stage to getting them prepared for work. And the next one we're going to offer is communication ability. Because of course now they're on the job. We have seen what's been excellent about this thing is that we've seen little turnover in the stages in which from the entry point of them actually interviewing from the job to getting in the job. Previously, we would have a lot of meaning we'd lose a lot of youth from actually filling out an application to actually getting to work. But it's something about the modules, and I think that workability that really reduced, it increased our retention efforts as we went different stages throughout all the way from the interviewing process to the actual hiring. And it was an unexpected, pleasant surprise.
Nice. You mentioned the transition ability module. I just want to acknowledge the focus of that one is what employers would say is we want them to understand how to manage their personal life so that they can give the best energy, the best time, the best focus to their time at work. So it's managing personal and business, or personal and work life, and how to make a smooth transition into the workforce or within the workforce. That's what that one's about if the name is not intuitive. So again, back to thinking like the employer, and I love that you said it ignited the entrepreneurial spirit, because I think a lot of young people have an entrepreneurial spirit. I think the generation of young people coming up today perhaps has tends more toward entrepreneurialism than maybe the rest of us did, because the world is getting flatter. And so one of the things that this series does is it puts them in the employer's shoes. Rather than just saying, you need to understand this other party's perspective, it actually puts them in the employer's shoes, and they understand it in the first person. And then, of course, they have a lot more empathy and respect for the employer that they're working with. Tonya, is there a story that you could share with us about some examples you've seen in young people where you might have seen a change or a misstep that was then corrected because of some of these lessons in the soft skills?
Yes. One thing that we've seen last year, half of our youth actually are the cashiers, so they handle a lot of money throughout the games. Last year we saw a large amount of money. We don't know if it was mishandled or it was theft from the actual concession stands. This year we've had a couple of incidents so far, but interesting enough that the ones that actually had the issues had not been trained in work excellence. In fact, they're from a different agency. So it's unfortunate, but we really see that we think that the youth feel some sense of I don't want to use the word empowerment, but it's some sense of strength and individuality and accountability as a result of some of the modules that we've used. So it's not I'm just working for this employer and they owe me. It's that it's a shared kind of partnership, and it's like you want this from me, but I'm going to, get this back from you. And they were just so happy and so proud to work there. And we hear the youth say saving, costing, making money. It's just become part of the conversation at the agency.
That's so exciting. And to think that any worker, let alone a younger worker, would say the way that I get ahead in this job is not to kind of take what I can, but to take care of the organization. And the better I do that, the more opportunity I have. And if I can help them make more money, then maybe there is more money for me to have a better shift or a better rate of pay or some training or some opportunity. Love it. So exciting. Becky, are there questions coming up for Tonya?
Not at this time.
Wow, all right. So both of you, both Norma and Tonya, what would you say are the most important impacts that you're seeing, and what might you say to the organizations that are on the line that are thinking, is this right for our organization? What would you say has been the biggest impact and the biggest benefits that you all have seen? Why don't we start with Norma?
Okay, well, straight off, I know that this is about the folks that we serve, but I want to say that I have seen a great impact on my staff. They are far more confident when, in their teaching styles. And, I mean, they've been able to come along and show the videos and all the tools and materials. It's just been seamless for them in service delivery. So the greatest impact, which in turn impacts our community, has been on staff and the way that they're able to seamlessly deliver these soft skills to these young people.
Awesome, and I'll just say that when we created it for AAWDC in Maryland, but they have such a broad array of clients, including incumbent workers, that it's become a solution that's applicable around the country. And we wanted to give organizations who are using it lots of support. So the certification event includes amazing training, not only on the curriculum, but how to be a great presenter, because soft skills, it's not about what you know, it's about what you deliver. And so the training isn't about getting the answer right, it's about building skills and habits. So it's got to be real world and interactive and applied, and that confidence of the facilitator to not just be lecturing, but to really be facilitating learning, so important. So we wanted to give lots of support to any and all of you who are using the series, but we also wanted to give you lots of freedom. We're not going to tell you how you have to teach this, or what story you have to tell, or what example you have to give. We'll give you lots of tools to get you started, but we fully expect you to make it your own and to customize it for your economy and for your clientele and for your region. So I'm really pleased to hear that, that it has given that kind of confidence to your team. Glad to hear it. Thank you. Tonya, what impact have you seen? What would you say is one of the biggest impacts, and how would you recommend that these folks take a look at this solution?
I think one of the biggest impacts is that in the past we used soft skills training. And most of the training that was designed was really from people who worked in the field, meaning they weren't employers. So it did not have that bend of from the employer's perspective. And this curriculum actually, I think, is more for today and today's and tomorrow's worker. And we were very cautious about what curriculum we were going to choose because we didn't want to just create workers. We want to shift the mindset so that they possibilities not only on the job, people have the reason to do well on the job, but really see that they had control, because that's the youth that we're working with. Many of them feel like they have a lack of control. so they have some kind of control and choice, and somehow their efforts can actually make a difference. So it's really a more future-oriented. Also, and as I want to chime in with what Norma said as well, the curriculum, facilitating it has been excellent. Specifically, we have many youth that are primarily Spanish-speaking. And so we also have some that aren't in terms of low literacy. The exercises, the actual discussion questions, and the different activities that are in the curriculums really make the difference. It's not the paper. It's the activities that have been produced. It's the discussion questions, how they've been strategically placed to actually generate a level of learning in a different way that we've ever seen before with soft skills for this environment.
And with soft skills, that's what it's all about. They got to get it in their hands, in their head, in their heart, in their bones, because when the bus doesn't come, or the boss is a jerk, or the kids get sick, or someone's rude, you know, rather than react in a way that might make sense in some other part of their life, we want them to respond in a way that builds company and career success and gives them that ongoing opportunity to become, to learn, to choose again, and to have this awesome opportunity of work to grow so many important skills.
Yeah, Elisabeth, can I give one more quick example?
Absolutely.
Okay, one more example. The reason why that managing your mindset and reasonability was so helpful, I had one youth who has an anger management challenges. She's a cashier. She had a customer that came in and actually was very rude and cursing, etc. And so she's just sitting there. She says, Tonya, you know, Miss Tonya, I held myself because I knew that's not what I was supposed to do, and then I treated the customer like I should, and then I went in the back and I shed a few tears. Then I came back to work. But I don't know if she would have understood the space between the actual action and the choice of her response without the module reasonability.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I will just remind us all that this curriculum is useful not only for youth. It's having such a great impact on youth. We're actually going to have another webinar next week, an hour earlier, with two more folks. I know that one from Washington State is going to share, and somebody else who I've yet to determine, about how they're using this with youth, because I know a lot of people are thinking about their summer youth endeavors right now. This also works and is designed to be used with adults, unemployed, underemployed, happily employed at higher levels but want to make a career change, maybe generationally dependent on TANF for other government benefits and really coming from a culture that hasn't exposed them to work, and everyone in between. And the reason is this: it turns out when we work with employers to create this, they don't really care where we're coming from. They don't change their rules or expectations about things like dependability and getting along and communication. Whether we're young or old, you know, new or seasoned, they want what they want. And so we've created a curriculum that allows all of us, wherever we begin, to cultivate in a way that respects who we are, but to cultivate and deliver the skills that make our employers really successful and therefore give us a chance to build a really successful career. So if you're interested in learning more, we'd love to talk with you. If you're not sure it's for you, that's fine. It's you know, not going to be the right solution for every single program, but if you want to explore it, then email. My email address is there at the bottom of the slide there, Elisabeth with an S, not a Z, at worknetsolutions.com, and let's explore it. We can get you some samples, and we would love to help you figure out whether or not this is a great solution for you. Thank you all. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Tonya, for sharing.
Elizabeth.
Yes.
You're welcome. We did have a question come in about the series, and two. The first one is, how often are the materials revised or updated, and if so, how do master trainers keep track of this?
Very
how
good
do
question.
I guess all the trainers?
So we revise the materials as needed. These topics are quite universal, and so we did all fresh research on each topic, and what we ended up with is a combination of some approaches that are sort of tried and true. As you review them, you might kind of see echoes of things that you've known to be useful in your own professional development, and then we also came across much fresher, newer approaches for our modern world. So all fresh research was done. And then we update it as needed. So far, we have updated the respectability module. In fact, that's not even the cover it has anymore, that one on there, because there used to be 3 major generations in the workforce, and now with the Linksters, or Generation Z, turning, the youngest of them are actually turning 21 this year. So they are now really entering the workforce at a great rate. They're a huge generation. So we have updated that one to include that new dynamic. And if you've ever had 3 children and you add a 4th, you know that that's a big deal. It's adding one new dynamic creates a lot of new relationships. So we have updated that one. The way that people stay current, we are beginning to launch monthly calls for the community of people who use this curriculum, and those monthly calls will not necessarily have an agenda. It's not training. It really is a chance for everyone who's using it to say, these are my questions, here's a challenge I ran into, or here's a new activity that I created, and to really let the community stay current and learn from one another. And then quarterly, we will have a webinar which will have a topic, and that might be how to engage local companies to do incumbent worker training. It might be what's new with the series, or how to work with the youngest generation that's just entering the workforce. So quarterly, we'll make sure people get training, and that those topics will come directly from the community. It will be what they say they want to learn, not what we think that they should want to learn. So that's how we started current, and that's how we're staying current. Becky, you said there was another question?
Yes, we have 2 more. The next one is, where can...
Becky, before you say that, let me just remind everyone, I want to thank everyone for the time that they gave. I'm not excusing you. I hope you'll stay. But if you have another appointment to get to, remember that this is recorded, so feel free to come back and listen to these questions when you have a moment. But we hope you'll stay on the line. Thanks, Becky. Go on.
Where can participants or attendees find a schedule for workplace excellence certified facilitator training? Specifically, we've got Maxine, who's in PG County, Maryland, and they want to have a few people trained.
Great question. I will say we had a weird glitch on our website, and we're not able to change those dates there, so it's not the website. It would be to email me. I will get you those dates, but I'll tell everyone that we've just solidified dates. We will be in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, again near Annapolis. We'll actually be specifically in Arnold, June 13th and 14th, and we wanted to give folks who want to make an investment and get connected before their year end, June 30th, a chance to get certified and begin using the curriculum. So June 13th and 14th, we are in Maryland. We will also be in Boise, Idaho in May, and we have other dates that may be coming together. If you want to know more about that, or you're not in either of those places in the country, email me and I will keep you up to date on that. Thanks, Maxine.
And the last question comes from Justin, and he's asking, what are the associated costs for this series? And Elisabeth, I know these can vary based on each organization and different circumstances, so the best way is to talk with you one-on-one, but can you just give a general sense?
Yeah, definitely. So we did make the decision to require people to be certified to use the curriculum. As you heard from Norma and from Tonya, it really produces deep and long-lasting results. And so although it is quite turnkey and good to go, we do have everyone go through an exciting 2-day certification event. Norma's loved it so much she's come through twice. And you can become a certified facilitator, which is required, and that's the person who uses it with end users. So you'd use it with job seekers, students, career changers, employees and incumbent workers, someone to walk through it with people who are going to apply it in their own life and career. And then the second level, and Norma is a master trainer. A master trainer is someone who not only can work with end users, but can also train up other certified facilitators. So she can train up other people on her team to be facilitators. And we like to do that so that you are not dependent on us as you grow the effort or if you experience staff turnover. So to become a certified facilitator is $500. To become a master trainer is $1,000. You can bring us to you if you have a group of people of 10 or more in your organization or community. For example, we're going to Boise because the Department of Labor in Idaho will be training up 24 people. We will be opening that training to other people who want to come from around the country and join us at that event. And then you would, so that the training equips and allows you to use the curriculum. You would then purchase the curriculum, and I'd be happy, as Becky said, to send you more details on this, but here's the basic structure. Each module is $10 retail. You would never pay that, and I'll explain how that works, but let's say we're going to put a client through all 10 modules. That would be $100, but you would actually pay $9 per module. If you went to a local employer and they said, yep, we want you to do a lunch and learn, come in and do this dependability module with these 30 staff, you might charge them the $10 retail fee, even though you buy lower. So that's one of the ways you can generate some income using this. You would buy at $9 per module or less, because when you buy in bulk, you get a lower rate. So if you put your clients through a series of 5 of the modules and you bought in bulk, maybe you would buy at $8. That would be $40 per client. So just a few moving pieces to think about. I'm happy to send you an order form which makes all of that clear and to answer any questions that you have. So I hope that's helpful.
And Elisabeth, if I might have a couple things to say.
Certainly. This is Norma, yes? Yeah.
Yeah. To the person that asked the question, and anyone else who may be pondering, is this worth it? I am here, a living person, to say yes, it is. It's worth it. I grew up in Southern Maryland. I love Southern Maryland, and I want to give the very best to Southern Maryland. And I will say that as it applies to workforce development, every penny that I have spent from my budget to train staff in 3 counties, and all of our staff here, the managers are all trained in it. Every penny was well worth it. Again, it boosts confidence in our staff and myself as a manager. We can use this in team trainings, as a refresher, so forth and so on. As you heard Elisabeth say, we can then train in-house. So, I mean, it's the support and resources that are online, the presentation, the slides, and, just all the supporting materials. I mean, $500 is I mean, you get your money hand over fist in return to you. I would say tripled and doubled, depending on how many times you use it. The end result is you will see a difference in employees, in staff, and ultimately in the people that we serve in the community.
Thank you for sharing that. Any final words from you, Tonya?
Well, I guess my final words would be we here look forward to actually continuing these modules. And one thing that we've actually incorporated is evaluation measures of how well those skills are actually being exhibited at the site. So we really evaluate, they're doing self-evaluations, the youth, the team leaders are evaluating them. So it's really going to give us an opportunity to look at how those skills learned in the curriculums translate to the workplace. So it's just multiple ways that you can use and infuse and really integrate this curriculum and the learning throughout your whole life cycle with your clients.
Very exciting. Well, if there's nothing else from anyone on the line, I will if we never meet you, if this isn't the right solution for you, I want to thank you for the amazing work that you do. As Norma indicated, reminded us, it changes lives, it changes communities, and you do amazing work, and we often don't get recognized as often as we should. So thanks for all your good work. We would love to be a part of it if this is the right solution for you. So we hope to hear from lots of you. Next Monday, we'll have another webinar with 2 more parties sharing how they're using this with youth. But if you want to explore that for youth or adults, I hope to hear from you before then. And with that, I wish you a wonderful rest of the Monday, and thank you so much. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Goodbye.